Guys, welcome to STR8CHEM. In this video, we're going to look at the electrolysis of water liquid using inert electrodes. Inert electrodes can be the carbon solid, or even you can use platinum electrode. So the first thing that we need to know is how to draw the diagram for this electrolysis. So we're going to have the diagram of electrolytic cell like this. You have the anodes, cathodes, you have the direct currents connected to that, and then you have the electrolytes over here containing the charged ions. Since we have decided to use the carbon electrodes, so you're going to label both of the electrodes as carbon solid. Both of them will be carbon solids electrodes. And then since we are going to be talking about the water electrolysis, your electrolytes over here in this beaker will be water liquid. So it's going to be pure distilled water. And for that, at the anodes and cathodes, the water will get discharged. Okay, so I'm going to go back to that diagram over here, and it's going to be easier for you to visualize the situation. You have water liquid inside, and you have a lot of water molecules. And all of the water molecules will be able to get discharge at either both of them. But the process will be different, of course, because for the anodes over here, that is the oxidation process, and oxidation is losing of electrons. So when you have electrons being lost, the electrons will be part of the product sites, okay? And then you're going to complete the whole thing. Over here for the anodes, you're going to be making, the oxygen gas. Also, you're going to have the H plus ions going to be produced. So to balance that out, you're going to have 2 moles over here. Then you get 2 moles of oxygens right there. And of course, when you have 2 times 2, for the H plus, you're going to have 4 moles. And the electrons will be 4 moles of electrons. So that is the balanced equation for the anode half cell. What about the cathode half cell that we have in purple? We do know that cathode will be reduction process. Reduction process is gaining of electrons. Therefore, the electrons will be part of the reactant. And you're going to be making H2 gas. And you'll have OH minus aqueous going to be formed. If you have H plus going to be formed for the anodes, OH minus will be formed at the cathodes. It's the opposite. Now, to balance this out, you're going to have a look at your half cell for cathode. You have 2 moles of hydrogens over here. 3, you have 2. You have oxygen. So how are you going to balance this out? So you're just going to put 2 right there. And you're going to put 2 right here. Then you'll get 4 moles of hydrogen. 4 moles of hydrogen. 2 moles of oxygen. 2 moles of oxygen. And you're going to put 2 for the electrons because you have 2 moles of OH minus right here. So when you get the correct half cell for both, you will be able to get 1 mark for that and 1 mark for this one. And the third thing that you need to do is to write down the observation. So the observation will be at the anodes, bubble gas will be formed, but that one will be oxygen gas. At the cathode, bubble gas will be formed as well when you electrolyze water molecule, and the bubble gas at the cathode will be the hydrogen gas. A very quick tips to determine the gaseous products at the anodes and cathode. How are you going to memorize that? So we're going to use the mnemonic of the middle letter. So I'm going to use black over here. So when you look at the word anodes, the middle letter will be O. Okay, you look at the middle over there. Over there, it will be the letter O. Therefore, O, when you put 2 right there, then you get the oxygen gas. So the middle letter for cathodes is right here, H. Okay, so that is the middle letter of cathode. You're going to write H over here, and you're just going to put 2, and you put gaseous species. So this is how you're going to be identifying the gas of the product side for both anodes and cathode. Another tip for this part is, apart from you will be able to identify which of the gaseous products will be formed at the anodes and cathode just by looking at the word itself. And how do we identify the H plus and OH minus species going to be formed? And that is easy as well. So right now I'm going to use green colored pen. So for the OH minus, we know that it will be the product of cathodes. And look at the word cathode over here. You have O and H. You have O and H right there. And that is the clue that you can use to write down OH minus aqueous just by looking at the O and H. So if you have OH minus over here, the opposites of OH minus will be H plus aqueous. And if you look at the word anodes, you have the word A. Okay, so when you look at A, you can imagine acidic. So that's why you have H plus aqueous and OH minus. Remember, just look at the HO over there. And that's how you would be able to complete the half cells for anodes and cathode for water electrolysis.